Hey, are you okay?
Uh,
Are Are you okay?
yeah. Hello.
Do you feel like you need to do something like journal? Has anybody ever done journaling?
Yeah. No, I haven't done journaling.
Hey, you know what? Here's the thing. Journaling is a thing. And this month, April, is National Journal Writing Month. And it just so happens that my personal therapist said I need to journal. So if you need to journal, if anybody's ever told you about journaling and you thought about it, this is going to be the episode for you. So stick around.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Whether you've been married 1 or 20 plus years, at some point you realize you married into crazy. And that's what our show is all about. If your marriage or relationship is compassionate, real, accountable, zealous and yielding, or just plain crazy, Snooks and Lovey offer love, laughter, and a dose of reality as they unpack this thing called marriage. Sit back, relax, and get your ear hustle on. It's time to start the conversation.
Yo, what's up? It's your boy ET. Look, if you're looking to or you got to raise the bar on your marriage, you gotta click the link and get into Married into Crazy, y'all. I'm telling you, this coaching is gonna take your relationship to another level. Now look, you already know you need to raise the bar. You know that already. So stop thinking or overthinking. Click that link, and Marriage into Crazy is gonna take you and your spouse to marital bliss. Now you know. Click the button. Let's go.
Welcome back to another episode of the Married into Crazy podcast with Snooks and Lovey.
I'm Snooks. Can I say it?
And I'm Lovey. You're supposed to just jump right in. And get there.
Whatever. Anyway.
Hey, look, we want to welcome everybody back. You have a lot of choices, and we are very pleased and grateful that you chose to spend some time with us next 30 to 45 minutes. And I think you're going to be very pleased with the subject matter expert that we're going to be bringing you here shortly. So, but we need to catch you up really quick. Did you know that last month was MIC Madness? Everybody knows about March Madness, but did you know it was MIC Madness? We're going to do this from time to time, throw out a hashtag here and there. We just drew our winners, and we're so thankful for all of you posting your pictures wearing the MIC gear.
Thank
so
you.
keep an eye out because we're going to do more and more of those things. Mm-hmm. But right now we're going to focus on bringing on our special guest.
Okay.
Are you okay with that?
I'm perfectly fine because I wanted to say something, but
Don't say anything. Say
no.
anything.
I mean, I'm gonna wait. So go.
You sure?
I'm positive.
See, check in with your wife to make sure you have permission to proceed in all things, fellas, in all things.
Okay, let's just be clear, y'all. He don't do that all the time. So stop.
I'm not going to stop. So here's what we're going to do. We have a gentleman that I've known for the greater part of the last 30, 40?
40. Over 40. Yes.
I should have paid him to lie. Over 40 years. So we have with us Geno Davis. We go all the way back to high school, and this man is absolutely amazing. I remember after going into the military and traveling afar, came home, and I was watching TV one day, and there was Geno. And it was funny, and for a good reason. For a good reason. We can't say that about all the people we graduated with, but I can definitely say that about Geno. And but we asked him to come on our show because, as it turns out, we're focused on all things positive that can really lift and elevate the sanctity of marriage, the covenant of marriage. And Geno does something very special that I think we can all benefit from. So without further ado, Mr. Geno Davis, can you give yourself a proper introduction and not the one that I just kind of ran through?
I can. Thank you, Ernie. Thank you. So I'm a certified family life coach, and I specialize in journaling. I blended family, rather. And I specialize in journaling. I've been journaling for over 40 years. And I've developed a journaling format that absolutely blows away the traditional style of journaling. And what do I mean by that? Journaling, the traditional format would be that you write the date at the top of the page, and then you write a half to 3/4 of a page about what's going on in your life, whether it's a challenge, if you have some goals, you want to take the family on vacation. It could be about deep stuff, and it could be about superficial things as well. But with regards to my format, I labeled it or named it advanced journaling. And the reason it's advanced is because, well, let me back up. When I was journaling, no, I was journaling for many years, and I thought it was good, but it wasn't great. And I was achieving goals, and I was seeing some action or activity, but I didn't know how these things were happening. So I would go back and read old entries, and I'd see that I had overcome a challenge, I had achieved a goal, you name it. Numerous things came of it, but I couldn't figure out the how or the why behind it. And that's what led me on a mission to develop a journaling format that you could identify how you got to where you wanted to go or overcome the challenges that came up in your life. And so that's what led me on this path and ultimately came up with the name of advanced journaling. So
I'm glad you explained that, because I was thinking, well, I'm a beginner journalist. I wanted to, I know how to write, and I have a journal. I just never put the two together. It just sits on my desk.
So go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just going to ask you what got you into actually journaling? Like, was there a pivotal moment, or were you just like, I got some spare time, let me write some stuff down?
Well, it's a good question. Thank you, Rana. Ernie and I went to a high school that we had to journal all 4 years. And when I left Christian Brothers, I threw my journal up in the air and thought, I'll never do this again. I think Ernie did the same thing. But
I burned mine.
But Ernie, come on. It was an assignment we had to do every day, but somehow you could get to school without your homework, And you see guys just hurrying up and writing before the teacher came by to check on their journal. Ultimately, I didn't journal again until I was about 25 or 26, and I had a life event happen. My family and I, we had a housing ministry. We provided housing for abused women, elderly, and handicapped. And we lost everything we owned. We had like 17 houses, some apartments, and the bank called our note due on the apartments, and so we lost everything. And here I am, 26. I hadn't gone to college right out of high school like a lot of people. I wasn't ready, and so I couldn't get a job interview because I had no degree. Whereas a lot of college graduates, they don't have experience, so they can't get a job interview. I had the exact same thing in reverse. So I started journaling then. And that life event caused me to start journaling. Why? Because here I am, 26. I was married. I had 2 children at home. My first wife had 2 children from a previous marriage. But I took 100% ownership and responsibility of my role. And I'm like, man, I got to feed these kids. I got to keep a roof over our mouth. And so I started journaling, and what I noticed, again, back to that earlier statement, is after a few months, I went back and read earlier entries, and I noticed, wow, I overcame this challenge. I achieved this goal. The thing that seemed so huge wasn't that big anymore once I put it on paper. And so I would journal throughout my life. I subsequently got into law enforcement and did that for 21 years. And I journaled throughout my career with that. And then, my first marriage didn't work out. After 18 and a half years of trying everything humanly possible to make it work, it just wasn't going to happen. So anymore. So we went our own ways. And then I subsequently remarried. I've been married 10 years now to my current wife. And when we first met, I had a son that was a year older than her youngest son. And so her son was having some challenges. And so I told her, listen, I need your support because I'm not his dad, but I think he needs a reset, and he's gonna do wonderful if we do some journaling with him. And she said, okay. So I sat down with him, and I did a little different format with him than what I'm teaching today. I would be happy to share the format with anyone who needs it for their children or for, whatever purposes they think might work. But what I did was team journal with him. And so I set up a series of topics. So they were superficial topics like, what's your favorite sport? Do you like team sports or one-on-one sports? Do you like the mountains? Do you like the ocean? What's your favorite color? And so we'd pick a topic every night and write about it for 5 to 10 minutes. And then we would trade journals and read each other's entry and ask each other questions. So the first week, he was a typical teenager. Wow, why do we got to do this? This is dumb, you know. But the first week, I think we wore him down because he stopped complaining. And the second week, he was pretty quiet about it. But the third week, this is where like the light bulb went on for me. The third week, it was Wednesday of the third week. I'll never forget that. And we were sitting down eating dinner, and he says, "Hey, can I pick tonight's topic?" Because I knew right then when he asked that question, he had embraced journaling. And so we're all adults here. You know, you hear workout programs, diets. They always say you should do it for 30 days to set a new pattern in your life. And so that was my thought behind making him journal with me. You see, I never told him it was only going to be 30 days. I just said, this is what we do now, you know, because you're messing up. You're on the wrong road. You're on the right road. So we finished journaling the fourth week. At the end of the fourth week, the 30th day, I said, "Hey, Chase, check this out. You don't have to do this with me anymore. I hope you continue to do it throughout your life. It's a super beneficial activity to do, or exercise. And if you ever would like me to read one of your journals and give you some input, I'd be happy to do so." And he says, "Hey, I think this is pretty cool, and I'm going to keep doing it, but I don't think I'm going to ask you to read any more entries." So that was a big win, right? So ultimately the next week he went out with his own money and bought this, I don't know, really nice leather bound journal. And he was 14. Now he's about ready to turn 26 in May. And so what really, after that, I was just journaling myself. And now, Ron, I have 5 kids, and they're all my stepchildren. And so ultimately, I was, about 3 years ago, I had this thought, like, what's the difference between the 5 kids in my life? He's the most balanced out of the other 4. Out of all 5, he's solid with every relationship, whether it's money, friends, business, work, fiance, parents. You know, again, they're all my stepchildren, so I don't have any kids of my own. And ultimately, you could say, well, there's a lot of different influences. They have 2 dads. Let's start with that, right? But what was my influence? And so the only thing I could pinpoint was that I had shared journaling with Chase, and I hadn't done it with the others, not on purpose. With as far as not sharing it, I just didn't think about it. And so then I decided, hey, there's something to this. You know, this is a big deal. But that's when I decided I want to figure out a way to make this to where you can understand how you achieved a goal, how you overcame a challenge, and let's really put this to the test. So I had a challenge with my life, and so it was a family member that I just oil and water, and so I'm like, why does he get under my skin? Every few weeks I'm calling this friend of mine and say, hey, this happened again. And this friend of mine had a similar problem with a family member of his, and that's why I was sharing it with him. And so I said, that's when I was like, hey, I'm going to try this journaling format that I just developed, and let's see if it works. And so ultimately, it's kind of a weird way to develop this, but when I was in law enforcement, I was a range master. I was a firearms instructor for 17 years, and so when you get someone that goes to the range and they can't shoot, they have to go through a remedial training, and they're stressed out because that's their job's on the line, right? So
right.
You got to bring them up to speed. You got to get them comfortable. You got to get them to pass their qualification. But it shouldn't end there. If you're a good instructor, you want your student to leave on a positive note. So you would take them through a series of exercises that, because they're not a range master, they don't know. You can't fail them. Anybody could pass these tests, but they don't know that. So when they pass these tests, 3 or 4 of them in a row, they leave, and they leave happy because they're like, I did this, I accomplished this. They're not stressed out for the next 3 months when they got to go back. And so I said, how can I do this with journaling? So what I did was I decided I'm going to identify a purpose or a topic, and then I'm going to identify some intention statements, some manifesting statements to get rid of this challenge you're having, or if it's a goal you want, how to achieve the goal, and then gratitude. How do you end on a positive note? You thank God for the things you have that you already have that you're grateful for. And so so I originally was writing 10 gratitude statements at the end. I have ratcheted it back to 5. So I tried this with the topic that the challenging person I had in my life. And I'm telling you, I'm 52 years old when I'm going through this. Like, this person's still bugging me at 52 years old. Are you serious? Like, when is this going to be over? Like, I can't get over this. Right. And so I'll just be straight. It's my dad. Like, I'm 52. My parents are still married. They've been married 52 years. You do the math. I was there at their wedding, but I was under my mom's dress, right? So, so ultimately, they're still married, and I got to see them holidays, birthdays, you name it. My mom needs something. Guess where I'm at? I'm helping her, but I got to talk to him, So I'm like, he can say something. I'm like, how could you say this? Like, what is up? But so what my manifesting statement was, I said my purpose it's 3 segments, right? It's identify your topic. So my topic was the person I had a challenge with. My first intention statement was, I forgive those who have harmed me, and I peacefully detach from them. Okay. Now the rest of my manifesting statements were other topics, like bringing positive things into my life, such as let's say my business, good clients in business come to me with ease from out of the blue. That was one of my manifesting statements. There's several other. What is it? I receive abundant prosperity, divine wisdom, wealth, and knowledge with ease. Okay. Those are just a couple of my manifesting statements. But the key manifesting statement there was to get rid of that challenge in my life, and that was, I forgive those who have harmed me, and I peacefully detach from them. Now, after a period of time, he wasn't bugging me anymore. Now, I had a friend of mine. I was calling him out every 6 weeks, and I haven't called that friend. We talk 3-4 days a week. I haven't called him in over 3.5 years now for this topic because the challenge is gone. It's gone, completely gone. Like, not even a little bit there, like gone. And so it works. And so I'm let me
jump in. I want to ask you a question on. So I see how that was applied familially,
yes,
which I think is absolutely brilliant. For the sake of our audience, I'm curious. So that concept is pretty amazing. How do we introduce that, and where's the value in that for, like, Snooks and I? Not that she's been bugging me for 27 years. I was about to
say, finish that sentence, please, sir.
So I look, and I had to figure out, like, oh, wait, how do I want to put this?
I was waiting.
No, I mean, but where's the, I guess, the relevance for journaling when it comes to, a married couple, a relationship?
That's a good question, Ernie. So what I would tell you is this: you would identify a topic within your marriage that's a challenge. Okay, so what would be that? I don't know. Maybe you leave a wet towel on the bed, and she's told you 1,000 times, Ernie, come on, and you leave it on her side of the bed. Like, what's up? You identify the topic, and then if you're the one doing it, she would identify the topic. You have to understand, like, this is where I feel where you digest this, right? You're not doing it to her. You're doing it because of your own thing. Like, you're just not thinking about it. And that was what it really was. So this is how it would apply. What it was boiled down to, my dad, he wasn't doing this to me. Like, he loves me, right? He's my dad. He loves me. But he says stuff that just get under my skin. I'm like, oh, what is that? He was doing it because of his own insecurities. He was saying these things because of his own insecurities. And so the same thing within a marriage. If you have some challenges that you're, struggling with, and you've talked about it, but then you inadvertently still the offender does the thing, whatever that thing is, and then you're back on this roll. It's like almost like a vicious cycle, right? But here's what I would like to share with you. I went back last year I was like, how long did it take me to get rid of this problem? So it took me 34 days, because I went back and looked at my journal entries, and I wrote it for 34 days. The only disappointing thing for me is that I didn't write why or how I knew I could stop writing it, because 34 days is a big win. I shared this with a gentleman in one of my classes, and he lit up. Like, he got into my face like, well, I don't want to, 34 days is a long time. Like, whoa, time out. I said, well, whatever it is bugging you. But here's the thing. It was bugging me for 52 years. And it only took 34 days for me to go overcome this challenge. Right. And he took a step back. He's like, hey, man, I'm sorry. I'm over it. I want to be past this. This is bugging me, and I don't want it to bug me anymore. And so I definitively feel that within a marriage, journaling is absolutely beneficial. Why? Because it's the most gentle tool that you can use in conjunction with therapy or whatever you do for, like say some couples go on walks together. That's your time out away from the kids, away from the madness, away from work. We're going to go on a 20-minute walk in the evening. Or, this is just one more tool just like that you can do. You can do it together, like I was sharing earlier I did with my son. But journaling, a lot of times is really maybe some personal topics that it's not, your partner knows everything about you, probably, I would imagine. But it's still things you might want to just write about on your own and just deal. And it's a great place to do it.
You know what? That's a very good point. Our audience knows a lot of the challenges that we've actually gone through. They know about our loss of our son. They know about when we almost got divorced, the whole 9 yards. We're pretty transparent. and so I'll share this, that a few weeks ago, my therapist asked me about journaling. Do I journal? And I was like, oh, yeah, I have Facebook. He's like, no. I don't mean going on and typing it. And I explained what I had done through my grief journey, and he liked it. He goes, that's very similar. He goes, but I'm not going to push you, but consider it maybe down the road as a tool, a resource that's always going to be there for you. And I just kind of, I don't know if I'm a journaling person. I've owned multiple journals. I have a really nice journal, leather bound with refills and all that. And I haven't utilized it. And out of the blue, you and I actually come together again, and we had talked, and we've stayed in touch via Facebook for the longest, and making comments here and there and what have you. And then you reach out, and I had no idea. I knew about your law enforcement career, but I didn't know about this particular aspect of your life. And when you brought it up, I'm like, okay, God, you're trying to send me a message right now. And I was thinking, it's not just about Snooks and I, sitting down and journaling and trading journals like you were talking about with your son.
Yeah.
But I feel like I see the value in if an individual, let's say I'm law enforcement, or say I have a stressful job, or I'm going through some things, or there's the loss of a parent, the loss of a pet, somebody that's a family member, something that you're going through that's intense. It could be a way that you're processing whatever that is you're going through. And in doing that catharsis, takes some of the burden off of our relationship.
Yeah, I agree with that. Because I feel like not everyone can articulate what they're feeling or to be able to say it. And we've said, okay, before, write it down, write a letter, something, but write it down. I used to be a huge writer. I love to write. Reading and writing are my absolute most favorite things to do. But journaling is something that I had never gotten into. I don't know why. I've started kind of like you. I've started like 5 different journals, different points in the journal. Okay, I'm gonna get through this one. But I don't know. I get lost maybe in my books or something, but when I go back and I read some of the things that I wrote, I'm just like, wow, it's freeing, kind of like you were talking about a little earlier, Gino, when you realize that what you used to feel like or what you were going through, you're no longer dealing with that. And maybe to go back and look and see where that happened. Where was that page break at? So
Right. And I will say this: you're talking about, writing, and we're discussing journaling. I would be absolutely remiss for all of our audience. There's a form of journaling. It's a very minor form. It's like a very distant cousin. It's called leaving a review. If you go to YouTube or you go over to Apple Podcasts, you can leave a review. You can journal how much you love the podcast on there as well. So make sure you remember to go and subscribe on YouTube as well as wherever you're getting your podcast. And if you have the opportunity, feel free to leave a review, but make sure you subscribe. Now, to get back to the traditional journaling, I'm telling you right now, our daughters had to journal, or at least Shanti did quite a bit.
I was like, she still kind of journals. So,
and it's funny when we go back and read some of the items that, like, from when she was in second grade or first grade.
They're hilarious.
And not only are they hilarious, but it takes you there. It gives that gratitude
Nostalgia.
you talked about.
Mm-hmm.
It really elicits that feeling again. So sometimes it's not about journaling. I don't think it's about just journaling the stuff you need to work through, but it's also putting down the things that you're grateful for. And I've heard of gratitude journals, and I'd love to learn more about how do you take people through your class. So how would somebody actually engage if they wanted to learn about journaling?
So if they can get a hold of me on my website, and I teach anybody. I have online classes that are pre-recorded, or I can do groups or individuals in person or through Zoom online as well, but live. But I want to go back. You asked me a question like, how could this really benefit marriage? And truly, let's say this is a little thing, and you touch on it, Rana. If you write it down and you kind of work through or manage through how you want to talk to your partner about it, instead of unloading on them, now you've formulated, an approach and a delivery that might be more palatable for them, and they're going to feel your care and concern versus losing it for anybody, male or female. Just I'm so frustrated. I've told you this 5 times. Like, well, what is up? But part of that is my journaling process. It's not just writing. So once you write your topic that you're writing about, I say write 2 to 3 sentences on your topic. Then you write your 5 intention statements to support that topic or bring new things into your life. And then the 5 gratitude statements, the things that you have that you're truly grateful for. Like, I'm grateful. I have a wonderful wife. I'm so grateful. My kids are healthy, and I have a roof over my head. I have dependable cars. So many things. Many pairs of shoes. I mean, I've done missionary outreach in third world countries where people don't even have 1 pair of shoes. So I mean, we have so much to be grateful for, and a lot of us truly start taking it for granted. And so when writing this, it really reinforces the good things. But that's not where my journaling process ends. What I say is that you read your intention statements and you read your gratitude statements. If you notice, I didn't say read your topic again, because if it's a negative thing, you don't want to reinforce it. And then you take a moment of silence and meditate, or a calming technique, and you think you reread those entries, and then you take 5 minutes to yourself and try to calm yourself and quiet and rest on those thoughts. Now, we go through our day, we have things happen. Maybe you and your spouse you guys are doing good. It's the little stuff. It's not a big deal, but you went through your day. Someone let the shopping cart hit your car, you name it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you have things. So you got these negative things going through your head. So, maybe you run in, you and your spouse have a little thing happen. And because of those other things, that little thing seems big, but it's not. So that's why what I say is right before bed, I recommend read your intention statement again, read your gratitude statements, and meditate 5 minutes. So instead of marinating on negativity in your subconscious while you're sleeping, now you're marinating on the positive things that you have to be grateful for in your life. And it's a wonderful activity. I'm telling you, like, I've never struggled with depression. Now, I've had things that are depressing, yes, and I've had things that have bummed me out, yes. But I've always been pretty much even keel and right about here with positive attitude. When I started doing this journaling process, I've developed this about 3.5 years ago. And since then, like I'm always up here now. It's incredible. It is really incredible because it works. And I've taught it to tons of people, groups. I've taught it to vets, people that have been to Fallujah in Afghanistan, and they have some real pain that they're dealing with. Them picking up their buddies, leaking in the desert, you name it. And you know, they've been through my classes and they've said it's helped. I've taught families right at their kitchen table. My youngest student right now is 8 years old, and my oldest student is 78. But my process works. It absolutely across the board can work for anything. So far, I haven't had anybody come and tell me, hey, it didn't work for this or that. The thing is, it's like anything else. You know, you could pay for like $300 diet, but if you don't follow the diet, you ain't losing any weight, right? If you join a gym, if you join a gym, buy a Peloton, get into the house, but if you're not on it, you're not gonna get shredded. So
that's absolutely right.
It's funny you say. I know people that have a Peloton. It's the most expensive clothes hanger.
Yes,
in the entire house.
Yes,
you know, it's a good point. That's a very good point.
Yeah.
You know, for people that are wondering, you know, I took the liberty of going on your website, and I took a look, and I wanted to everybody else to kind of get a vibe. Let me see if I can actually.
I took a look.
Oops.
There's that Peloton with the clothes.
Exactly. I know. I'm like, I've got these toys and I can't see what I'm doing with it. Well, I was going to bring it up, but it was preset. I'm playing all this technology and it's just ridiculous. So what I'm going to do is not show the video. I was going to highlight your website. But my little doohickey here, I changed a setting. And for those of you, this is so funny. I'm very transparent. As we were setting up today for the podcast, I was changing everything. It was going left and right. So it's an act of God that we even got a camera rolling right now. But one thing I do want to do, because the topic kept coming up again and again and again, there's a segment of the show that is sponsored by Raise the Bar.
Raise the bar.
And so Raise the Bar, so BAR is an acronym: belief, actions, results. So we want you to raise the bar on your marriage. Mm-hmm. And in this particular segment, we always try and leave at least one thing that you can do. But it turns out this entire episode is talking about things that you can do, actionable things that you, as a married individual or somebody that's engaged or on that path towards becoming engaged, can do to really enrich your relationship.
So the little thing from Raise the Bar, reflect on the things that you appreciate about each other and write them down.
Right.
And what your life is together. So honestly, you know, you kind of said something a little bit earlier, and I know I'm kind of jumping all over, but you brought up National Journal Writing Month.
I did.
So I think that this is so appropriate because for those that may have been thinking about journaling, or those that have done a little bit of journaling in the past, and, you know, it's always like, oh, I want to get back into it. I have mine sitting on my nightstand, not too far from the bed, you know, so I can reach over and grab it. I just haven't yet. But I mean, this would be a good time for you all to either get started or pick it back up again, or just even investigate and, you know, contact Gino, because some of the things that you're talking about, for those people that have some stressors, or you have some challenges, obviously he's helped a ton of people. So maybe this is something that you can look into, because let's just be honest, you know, everyone who needs help doesn't really go get it, right? So if you could start helping yourself, doing something small, this sounds like something that would be beneficial for you. And just kind of piggybacking on, again, what you said about the therapist telling you to journal. So, I mean, you heard it here, folks.
Absolutely.
We got a professional. We have someone who told him, and I have been doing it too. So let's get it.
I'll tell you right now, I am you. So she said,
You
if
are
the
me.
journal, our audience.
I was like, what are you talking
She
about?
said if the journal is on your nightstand, the journal has been on my nightstand for over a year. Now the journal is in the drawer. It's in the night. It's not on the nightstand. It's in the nightstand. But guess what? I'm going to be bringing it out of the drawer. I'm going to move it to the top of my nightstand.
It's a beautiful journal too.
It really is.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to work on this. April is National Journal Writing Month. So why don't we all take some steps toward writing in our journals? And it doesn't have to be anything spectacular. It could be a binder. It could be a series of papers in a folder. It doesn't have to be something immaculate. Just get started. And so let me ask you this, Gino. How would somebody reach out to you if they wanted to learn more about journaling and the program that you offer to help them do that?
They can go to my website, advancedjournaling.com, and I have a funnel on there. They can reach out to me, ask me to contact them. Or, like I had mentioned earlier, I do have my class pre-recorded. They can grab the class right there. And all my classes come with a PDF of the journal. I do have a hard copy if they want a hard copy. Let's see, I'm trying to get centered on the camera here. The nice thing about the hard copy is every single page has a spot where you put the date that you're writing. It has memory joggers, wrong side. This is all reversed, Ernie. Memory joggers, this is where your topic goes. Your intention, and then gratitude. And then at the very bottom, down in green, I have a quote from a famous person. This one happens to be, I just opened it up blindly. This one says, this one's from Michael Jordan. He says, I've failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed. So I have things like that at the bottom of every page from different famous people throughout history.
That's brilliant.
And, just kind of another point too, journaling doesn't have to be for someone who's getting over something.
Right.
No.
It could be for just because you want some gratitude. Maybe you want a little more clarity or something like that. You don't have to be going through something bad in order to pick up a journal and write about it.
It's funny you say that because I belong to a business mastermind, and the people they pay a lot of money for these masterminds. And one of the things that I notice as a common thread is that people that are just working through business challenges, they're working on solutions, are journaling. So I feel like now that I think about it, everybody around me is journaling but me. I really need to get on the train. So
my journaling format really does work across the board for everything. And that's what seems amazing and kind of corny at the same time. Like, oh, it's good for family. Oh, it's good for kids. It's good for business. Let me tell you something. My business blew up when I started applying my journaling format to it, my real estate business, because that's what I've been doing the last 5 years since I retired. And I went from no business when COVID hit. I was brand new. We couldn't talk to people in person, couldn't hand out pieces of paper, couldn't have open houses. I'm out of business before I even get started. And I started journaling. I'm not even kidding. Within 6 months, the average first year agent sells 2 to 4 homes. I sold 10. The second year, I sold 27. The average second year agent sells like 10 homes, maybe 8 to 10. I sold 27. Come on now. And I spent money on advertising and not a single sale. I can point towards those marketing dollars. But you know what? This is the only answer I can give you. And then people were asking me, hey, so how did you do it? And I said, well, I'll show you. I've been journaling. And they were like, no, I don't want to learn how to journal. Tell me how you got your business. And I'm like, and finally I said to you, like, oh, I return phone calls. And they go, oh, okay. You're like, what? like, you see what I mean? Like it was kind of ridiculous because they didn't want to hear the truth. But it really works, Ernie. It works. It'll work across the board.
Oh, that is beautiful.
I love it. That's so funny. No, I don't want to learn about journaling.
Yeah. Yeah, they wanted to know my master plan because they'd heard that I had massive successes, not just massive successes. And I had no training. I had no team. I was never on a team. I started in real estate just green, totally green. And I learned by fire, man. And that's why people were asking, well, what's going on? No, well, this is what I do. I start every day. I get up about 5. I drink coffee, write in my journal, and feed the dogs, and that's it. That's how I start my day. That's my day. It's that simple.
And it's funny how I have a mentor. He's a friend of ours now, and he's my mentor. Dr. Eric Thomas. He's a big time motivational speaker. He's the number one motivational speaker in the world. But ET always talks about how people always want, like, give me the 5-step process, give me the 8-step process, the 12-step, or whatever it is. And it was like, none of it matters if you don't have the right mindset. And what you're describing is somebody that doesn't have the mindset to really learn. They want the shortcut.
Right.
Give me the steps. Right. The steps. Yeah. You said it earlier. You can have a Peloton, and it doesn't matter. You can pay for $300 for a program, but it doesn't work unless you work it. And it sounds to me like a lot of us, married couples included, need to really get on board when it comes to journaling.
Absolutely.
Brother, I'm so thankful that our paths, didn't really, I won't say they crossed again. We've been kind of walking in parallel, but I'm really glad that we came together, and you have something that you can offer to the audience and the clients and the friends and family and extended family and people in all the different countries that are watching, that they can actually utilize. We like to bring real world solutions and resources to people that have real world challenges.
So just one more time, say the what is the breakdown? I know you end in gratitude, but what are the?
You journal with a purpose. That's your topic. You journal with intention, and then you journal with gratitude. You reread your intention and your gratitude entries, and you meditate for 5 minutes, and then you go about your day. I would tell you, if you just want to launch it to the next level, I reread my entry 3 times a day. So right after I write, then at lunchtime, I set the alarm on my phone. So then, because we all have busy days, I don't have time for that statement. I really challenge myself. I hold myself accountable to everything I'm saying. So I set my alarm clock because I could get through. I'm a taskmaster. I'll sit at my desk for 12 hours if I don't, you know what I mean? Like, I'll just keep plugging away. So I set my alarm. Hey, it's 1:15, time to meditate. So I reread my entry. I take 5 to 10 minutes for myself, and then I get back after it. And then I do it again at bedtime. And again, because at bedtime is critical because you're rewiring your thought processes. And truly, you hit the nail on the head, Ron. It doesn't always have to be something negative. Like, because I had thing that was big in my life, and after that everything else was small. And now my journaling is truly just business oriented because I sell real estate and I like it, but I love teaching people how to journal, and I love helping families get started, with people that need some incentive, or not incentive but necessarily, but maybe some guidance. Because I've been down that path. I've raised other people's kids, and you can do it successfully and have a wonderful life and on into adulthood, not just in the childhood and family level, but well beyond childhood. So I love doing that stuff for sure.
Love it.
Awesome. Well, Gino, we thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you.
We really do, man. Thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule. And I hope you all enjoyed this as well. Please do me a favor. Go out there and let your friends, family, neighbors, people that you truly care about, let them know about the Married Into Crazy podcast, because there's so much that we have to offer. It's not just us talking and rambling and, letting you guys laugh at us because we're sharing our stories, but it's when we bring subject matter experts like Gino on board, or other couples that are doing amazing things within their relationships and sharing how they overcame and so forth. This is why. And if you know somebody that might need to possibly look at journaling again, or you think, oh, this might be that missing piece for me or someone else, refer them to this particular episode. Let them know that, there are resources out there that can help them. Right? So like we always say at the end of every single one of our podcasts, we thank you. And you want to take us out?
Yeah, I was going to say, keep writing.
Until the next time. Be blessed.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to the Married Into Crazy podcast with Snooks and Lovey. Please like, subscribe to, and review the show wherever you access it, and tell a friend about us. Visit marriedintocrazy.com and see how Snooks and Lovey can bless your marriage directly.